Hi, I'm Gary White for Channel 6, Central Kentucky Television, and we're continuing our political focus program where we give our viewers the opportunity to get to know the individuals who will be on the ballot in the general election this November. Election day is Tuesday, November the 5th. We encourage everyone to go out and vote. And today I have with me Robert Haley Conway, who is the Democratic candidate for the Agricultural Commissioner for the state of Kentucky. And as we do with this program, we wanted to introduce everyone to the candidates. So if you could start off telling us a little bit about yourself.
Lifelong Kentuckian. My great-grandfather actually came to Kentucky with Daniel Boone, so our family's been in the state since 1775. We have two farms. One has been in the family since 1780. The other's been in the family since 1870. I am an eighth-generation Kentucky farmer. And my youngest son, I have four sons, my youngest son is actually farming with me, and that makes him the ninth Kentucky generation. And there's no more than that. And I'd like to emphasize to people, I'm truly the only person running for this office that's an actual farmer.
Okay. So where are you from originally?
Originally I'm from Scott County, born and raised there. We have a farm in Scott County, we have a farm in Harrison County.
Okay. And you live now in
Scott County.
Scott County in the Georgetown area, you're saying, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So tell us a little about the Ag Commissioner position.
Well, the agriculture position in Kentucky it's a multifaceted position. It encompasses responsibilities as far as like making sure that when you pay for a gallon of gas at a service station, you actually get a gallon of gas, to the quality of food, to something that is near and dear to a lot of people's heart. I didn't realize until I started running for this office that actually the Kentucky Department of Agriculture is responsible for enforcing and adhering to animal laws such as your animal shelters and things of that nature, which apparently are not really being done at this time.
And what made you decide to run for Agriculture Commissioner?
Well, I'm a retired executive of GE Capital, and one of the things I always wanted to do was to get to the farm. My father passed away when I was young. The farm came to me through my grandfather. And I always, lifelong dream was get out to the farm. The problem is, it's getting hard to make a living on the farm, especially Kentucky small family farms. Farm families are struggling. I literally have had to go back to work in order to farm. And that's true. I've literally had to go back to work so I can afford to farm. My youngest son, who is farming with me, literally, he played college football at the University of Louisville, and when they won the Sugar Bowl, and when his coach left and went to Texas, he transferred to UK, never played football again. He'd had a lot of injuries and stuff, and it started to take his toll, and he's a little guy, 6'5", over 300 pounds, and but it was starting to affect him. So he went to UK and got a degree in agriculture with the premise of going on to vet school, and he came to me about 3 years ago and said, "Dad, I want to farm." And part of me was ecstatic because we were able to take that legacy on. You know, the other part of me was very fearful for him because right now you cannot make it on the farm. It is virtually impossible to make money. There are so many things coming out here just in the last week, articles being written about the condition of farming in Kentucky and in the United States. And when I first originally got into this back in end of January, it was about saving the family farms. Now it's about saving all farms because all farms in Kentucky are at risk. And it's a passion. I think it's like whether you're a teacher, a minister, or a farmer, you have to have a passion. It's hard work, but the quality of life there is second to none.
So what do you feel are the biggest challenges right now for the farmer that you would be able to help with?
Well, there's a number of things, and part of it comes back to what it is I'm running for. The gentleman that I beat in the primary, the Kentucky Democratic primary, African-American gentleman, 30-year Air Force veteran down in Barron County, and truly one of the smartest people I've met in a long time. He's not only somebody that I ran a race against, he's actually someone who has become a very good friend of mine, and we have encompassed a large group of farmers because with numbers comes strength. And we have all sat down multiple times and come up with a farm program for farming in Kentucky to try to save the family farms. So it is actually posted on my political web page or my Facebook page, which is Robert Haley Conway, Robert Haley Conway 2019. And if anybody would like to look at it, it's pretty detailed. I mean, there's like upwards to 10 to 12 things that we've established that we feel like could change. Part of it is agriculture is somewhat like the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Things are not getting any better, they're actually getting worse. In 2001, it cost you $200 to raise an acre of corn. 2019, this year, it cost you $700, and the price of corn is less now than it was then. So just common economics tell you can't make it. You know, there's a lot of whistle touting about the resurgent hemp program from the current Commissioner of Agriculture. The problem is, everybody should have the ability to be involved with that. We lost tobacco. The tobacco program was taken away from us in 2004. We've not had anything to replace that. There's no safety net for the hemp program right now. You've had Mitch McConnell and Ryan Quarles running around Kentucky talking about how great hemp program is. The truth of the matter is, right now there is no insurance for it. There's no safety net, no guarantees if your crop fails. And with the drought we had at the end of the summer, a lot of people are really experiencing tough and difficult times. The other thing is the markets right now are still in a major flux. You know, one company in particular was touted as being someone to sell your product to. Well, right now that facility has stopped even construction down in Mayfield, Kentucky, and a lot of farmers are concerned and worried about where they're going to sell their crop. So, you know, and hemp is not cheap. Right now it's between roughly $3 and $6 a plant. And I forget how many acres it takes, how many plants it takes per acre. But I think if I'm not mistaken, it was around $3,000 to $5,000 an acre just to plant it with no return. And so it's very capital intensive. It is something that I think is a part of the potential solution for agriculture in Kentucky. I don't think it is totally a solution. It's totally not going to replace tobacco. But then again, one of the other things that I'm totally pushing as an individual, and it's a moral issue, not a political issue, is I want the legalization of medical marijuana, period. Because there's nothing else out there that helps so many people. Since I've been campaigning since the 1st of February, and I have put 82,000 miles on my car just going across Kentucky, I've not had one person come up and say, Mr. Conway, you're wrong on your stand on medical marijuana. The stories that I have been told, the people that have come up and first-hand testimonials would bring tears to your eyes, the individuals that it has helped. And I'm one of those people that I think people in Kentucky love each other. I don't care what party you belong to. I think we as individuals care about each other. And to be very honest about it, why would you not want to do something to make somebody's life a little bit better? Maybe make their pain a little less, or maybe make their days a little bit longer on this earth. You know, cancer devastated my family. I lost my mom. I lost both my grandmothers. I lost a grandfather. I lost 3 aunts, 2 uncles. I've had cancer. Why in the hell wouldn't you want to do something to help other people? And the other flip side of that is, if we did legalize it in Kentucky, part of our farm plan is that each farmer in the state, I don't care who you are, who you're related to, how much money you got, every farm that has a farm number in the state of Kentucky would be entitled to grow 1 acre of medical marijuana. And medical marijuana has to be grown in an encompassed facility. So basically you're looking at either a greenhouse or a hoop type building. 1 acre of medical marijuana generates $40,000 in revenue. Now, how much of that's profit depends on how much you want to work it, whether you want to outsource it or you're going to do it yourself. So that in itself also generates more income for the farm. One of the things that I am proposing that we desperately have to do is get more young people involved in agriculture. You know, the average age of a farmer in Kentucky, I'm 63. Average age of a farmer in Kentucky is roughly 58. And who's going to feed us in 20 years? So we have to get young people, and people say, well, young people are lazy. They don't want to work. That's not true. This generation of young people want to see the results, and they want to be paid for it. I don't blame them. So here's another revenue stream for us to look at. One of the things we're really looking at as far as making agriculture successful in Kentucky is we have to diversify. Look, you drive through Kentucky now, and if you go further west in Elizabethtown, you would think you're in Iowa. Nothing but corn, nothing but soybeans. Thousands and thousands of acres, and we don't even have the markets for that, because right now the bins are packed. There's corn and soybeans sitting on the ground. There's a crop this year yet to be harvested. And we don't have the markets right now to even sell that. Prices are depressed. So we're looking at diversification on the farm. You know, we have lost our dairy farms. We have lost mostly our tobacco. And we have to rethink what we do and how we do it. And we're a group of people that really want to make a difference.
So if you are elected for Agriculture Commissioner as a 4-year term, what would be your hopes that you would have achieved by the end of that 4 years? Some of the things you just talked about, I'm sure, but what are your priorities?
Basically keep people on their farms, in their houses. You know, I was a member of and chairman of the Scott County Board of Education. And one of the things that we did in Scott County was we were very proactive and very adamant that we provided the best benefits we could to the school employees, because we knew that many of the ladies that worked in the lunchroom program were farmers' wives or farmers. We knew that gentlemen and women that were working driving school buses that got up at 5 o'clock in the morning were farmers. And they were doing it because they needed the additional income and they needed the benefits. You know, being a farmer, you don't have insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And trust me, I understand that, because I have been that place. That's why I've had to go back to work, truly. I have actually had to go back to work so I can have the benefits. And after I thought I had retired, now I'm working, and I farm in the afternoons and nights and weekends. It's a tough life, but you make it. But we need to do things to help people on the farm, to stay on the farm. I don't want to sit behind a desk. I don't want to sit in Frankfurt and sit there and have other people do the work. I want to get out in the field, and I want to actually find out what the problems are and help people. And if I feel like I've helped one person, I feel like I've done something.
Now, there's been a lot of talk with the tariff situation and how that has been impacting farmers, some of them locally. Have you experienced that?
Me personally, no, because we raise cattle. But I have talked to grain farmers, and I actually have talked to one of the largest farmers in the state of Kentucky, and I asked him point blank. I said, how can you make it? And he looked me straight in the face, and he said, we can't. The only thing keeping them afloat right now is insurance. We've got to define new markets for their crop. We've got to regulate how much they grow, because the truth of the matter is, people aren't talking about this, but I think it's something that needs to be talked about. China was the biggest customer for corn and soybeans. And they found alternative markets. They've gone to South America, Argentina, and other places, Brazil. So they really don't need our stuff now. Now, if there is an agreement or a trade, you know, somehow they agree upon trade and a contract is signed, they may agree to sign X amount of bushels. But the truth of the matter is, the Chinese have already found alternative markets. Mm-hmm. So we will have to renegotiate those prices. And I promise you, they're not going to be for our benefit. They won't be going up, they'll be going down. So it's very possible that agriculture has, we know it has been impacted in a very negative way, and there's no way out of that for a period of time. So that's the reason why I'm saying I think we need to go back and look at what we used to do and how we did it. You know, Kentucky is the #1 cattle beef state east of the Mississippi. Problem in Kentucky is we have tremendous cattle resources here, but all of our cattle are sent out to Nebraska and Kansas to finish. Then they're brought back here for consumption. Well, one thing I do know is that we have plenty of corn and soybeans. We have ample amount of land in western Kentucky. We have plenty of water. We have transportation network. So one of the things we're also recommending is that we bring those processing, finish those cattle. We open those feedlots here in Kentucky to finish them off. You know, the slaughterhouses stuff, let's bring them here to Kentucky. There's things that we can do that we can promote that right now we feel like are not being pushed.
Now, we're talking about the Agriculture Commissioner, and again, I'm here with Mr. Conway, Robert Haley Conway, who is the Democratic candidate. He will be on the ballot on the election on Tuesday, November the 5th. And this is our Political Focus program where we get to know the candidates here on Channel 6 Central Kentucky Television. But when we're talking about the agriculture commissioner, but it's not just farmers that this job impacts. It's pretty much everybody in the state is impacted by the job that the agriculture commissioner does. Is that correct?
It is. And one of the things that I honestly did not know till I started running for office that means a lot to me is the Kentucky Department of Agriculture is the responsible government organization in charge of animal shelters.
Mm-hmm.
And this bothers me. Results just came out 2 weeks ago that Kentucky is dead last on how we treat animals in the state of Kentucky. Now, I know most everyone has a dog or a cat, and they become part of their life. I've got 2 dogs on the farm, I've got 11 cats. Every one of them's got their own little personality. Every one of them's near and dear. At the end of the day, I think it's our responsibility to take care of those things that can't take care of themselves. And this current commissioner has not spent 1 minute enforcing any of the laws that are on the book. Frankfurt is Frankfurt is noted for what we refer to as unfunded mandates. When you're in the Board of Education, you understand that they create laws and then pass it down for somebody else to generate the money to take care of it. That way they don't get noted as raising taxes, and they've pushed it down to somebody else. He's not touched it. There's been no movement whatsoever the last 4 years towards animals or animal welfare, we'd like to call it. So part of what I want to do is that office is responsible. You know, we have some really wonderful animal shelters in Kentucky, in Warren County, in Woodford County, Scott County. Most all of them are privately funded. There are ways to do it, but it has to become a priority. And I personally think it is our responsibility, especially the Commissioner of Agriculture, to grab this, because Kentucky not only ranks last in how we treat animals, Kentucky is also ranks last in the 50 states as far as the enforcement and how we treat our children. So any people that don't treat their children or their animals right, there's something wrong with it. So I think we need to look at that and make it a priority.
Well, again, I'm here with Robert Haley Conway, who is running for Agriculture Commissioner for the state of Kentucky. He'll be on the ballot on November 5th during the general election. We encourage everybody to go out and vote. And before we close, is there anything that you'd like to say to our viewers as to why you feel that you're the best candidate for this job?
Well, I say this with no animosity whatsoever, but I'm actually the only individual running for this office that actually farms, and that's important. The Kentucky Department of Agriculture is one of the larger entities within state government. They have over roughly a $40 million budget. They have roughly 200 employees. I have run a business where I actually ran a $75 million budget, 2,000 employees, plus control the resources for the Scott County Board of Education, which now has 10,000 students and a $60 million budget. So I have the business acumen to run the department. But the other side is that I'm a lifelong Kentuckian. I love this state. To my own demise, I turned down many opportunities to transfer with my jobs so I could stay here and raise my 4 sons. My wife and I have been married 37 years. Kentucky is home. And like I said, my youngest son is the 9th generation Kentucky farmer, and folks, there's no more than that. So we're here to stay. We're invested in this state. We love this state. We don't choose to go anywhere else. And I'd like to think that that counts for something.
Well, thank you very much for being with us.
Very much appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Again, we have Robert Haley Conway. He'll be the Democratic candidate on the ballot in November. On November 5th, we encourage everybody to go out and vote. This has been Gary White for Channel 6 Central Kentucky Television.